is time for some weekly wisdom with the one and only Coach Mike Basovic of No Limits Nation. Great to have everybody here, everybody. I'm Zach Pitts, and today we're talking about to-do lists. And I was going ahead and scratching off the things that I had to get done today. And, well, Coach Mike, some people just live and die by the to-do lists.
Yeah, and mostly die. And not not literally, but figuratively. The to-do list is the thing. We have to have a to-do list, everyone. I'm a big fan of, as soon as I get an idea, I write it down. As soon as I remember I have to do that, I write it down, because you're not going to remember it. So it's not the to-do list that's the problem. It's the pressure that people apply to the to-do list and what it does to them. And it's literally destroying their mind because, and we can get into this a lot, but what I see with a lot of our executives and our professionals, when they have this unending string of things that they need to accomplish, and they're accomplishing so much as they go through their day, they're successful people. So you can't not be successful without getting some things done. And but they're putting themselves up, and they're trying to live to a standard that they can't live to. And that part of their to-do list is part of that. The expectations are part of it. The trying to be perfect are part of it. Like, when I get like visions on week one, when somebody comes into our private program and they send us their vision, as you know, on week one, and they have, I'm going to work out, 7 days a week, 4 hours a day. And, and they start like putting these things down. I'm like, you're setting yourself up to fail. And if you take that expectation or just a to-do list, right? Like, people can accomplish 10, 20, 30 things in a week, and their mind is taking them to the things that they haven't done yet. So it's just another opportunity for them to beat themselves up and literally focus on failure. And the other thing the to-do list does, when you have all this pressure, it literally creates a state of being of overwhelm. Now, as you know, by our work, that and anyone that follows me knows that our state of being, how we think, how we feel, and how we act, is always creating the results in our life and also what we're experiencing in our mind. So if we're in a state of being of overwhelm, we're going to have thoughts of overwhelm, and we're literally going to overschedule ourselves, because that's what we do. It's going to create your action. So if you're in a state of being energetically of overwhelm, it's going to have you taking actions of someone in overwhelm. What does somebody in overwhelm do? They volunteer more. they schedule more. They sign their kids up for more activities. They'll take on the project at work, knowing that they shouldn't be taking on the project at work, and then they're obsessively thinking about it. And I always ask people, as a good barometer, what's the first thing that your mind takes you to when you wake up in the morning? And if it's your to-do list, you've got some problems. I know you can relate to that.
Oh, most definitely. And I know I've shared this with you a time or two, but, for a good chunk of my life, and, I still struggle with it here and there, but being a yes man, and, because you don't, for me personally, and I'm sure that a lot of other people that are watching this can relate, but you don't want to disappoint other people. So you try to go above and beyond and try to overpromise on certain things, but then you get yourself in this mess to where you promise the moon and you say, I can do this. And then you find yourself, as you mentioned, overwhelmed, and then nobody wins. I mean, it's a lose-lose for everybody. You're overwhelmed because you've overpromised, and now they're not getting what they were, hoping that you could help them with. You should have just been honest from the get-go.
Yeah. And where does that leave us then? After you fail, where does that leave people, Zach?
You just feel even worse when you fail.
Beating yourself up. So, and it always starts. And I'm not saying like go back and revisit your childhood and heal the inner child, all that stuff. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is that, I had this conversation with someone this morning. I had to go to the dealership and have some work done on my car. So I'm sitting there and talking to one of the people in the service department. And they were talking about their husband has some anxiety and things. And I said, does he put a lot of pressure on himself? And she said, yeah, he does. And I said, did he have a parent that put a lot of pressure on him that as a child? And he goes, yeah, he did. He goes, why are they related? I said, absolutely. So think about, like, as a young person, you either put a lot of pressure on yourself, don't want to fail in sports, activities, school, grades, life, don't embarrass me, or the parents are putting a lot of pressure on you, don't fail. A is passing, B is failing. So now you're under that pressure to perform. And every time you don't perform, you beat yourself up. You feel guilty. You feel inadequate. You feel less than. And inadequate is literally, it's, insecure means that you're uncomfortable in your own skin. Inadequate means that you feel that other people, that that are judging you, or you're judging yourself. So if you're in a conditioned state of being of inadequacy, that you're not good enough, and you carry that into adulthood, you're literally going to set yourself up to fail. You're doing it unconsciously, subconsciously, right? The unconscious, the quiet mind, but that's driving your behavior. So you're literally you're setting yourself up to fail by, like, let's take this project on. Let's have this relationship. Let's make this to-do list. And then you don't get it done. And now you're beating yourself up. You're a failure. There I go again. You didn't accomplish this, or I got these grandiose deals. Sunday night, I'm going to conquer this week, and I'm going to do all these things on Monday. Now Monday night comes, you were distracted the whole day. You didn't do any of them, and then you feel like crap. Like, why can't I do this? And I used to spend my days like this. Like, why can't I just get done what I want to get done? It's not the to-do list. It's not your tasks. It's not the projects you're working on. It's not, you can get 1,000 things done. If you're in a state of being of inadequacy, that's what you're going to experience. So you can be conquering life's problems. You still won't feel like it. You could be like this handsome or gorgeous person in the mirror, and you won't feel like it. You will only experience what your mind's allowing you to experience. So the opportunity is to always go inside. Like, if I keep experiencing this, I must be in this internal state of being, because that's what's driving my behavior. That's what's creating my thoughts, my beliefs, my memories. And it's also creating my emotions that I'm experiencing every day. So if I keep having this pattern of behavior, or this constant judgment of myself, or criticism, or failures, I must be in that state of being. That's why with our clients, as you know, we always turn the attention inward, because that's where all the problems are solved.
The one thing that I always find myself thinking more about is, so many successful people and people who have achieved so many different things end up coming through the program. They end up finding you because they hit this wall. What, in your experience, most often is that thing that they hit? Because, they've already accomplished so much, made a lot of money, had, success in all these different areas of their lives. What in your experience tends to be the recurring theme of, this happened, now I'm falling apart? Because how do you go from this really confident person that's achieving all these things to one day just feeling broken? Like, I forget how to do this now.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of things that they'll come to us with. It's either this lack of fulfillment. I've accomplished everything, and I thought it would feel a lot better. Jim Carrey came up with said a great quote one time. And Jim Carrey, he does study the mind and the inner work and energy. He's pretty learned when it comes to that stuff. But he said something great one time. He said, "I hope everyone gets everything they've ever dreamed of, because then they'll realize it wasn't the thing." And right, because we always are seeking more, with the premise that it's going to make us feel better or more fulfilled or complete. But when we get it, we realize it wasn't that. Buddha, sat under the tree for 16 years before, looking to find happiness, and he realized it was inside him all the time. So sometimes it's that lack of fulfillment. It's the fear, the catastrophizing, that you're going to lose everything. The successful people feel that they're one decision, one bad investment away from losing everything. It's the sense of judgment, inadequacy. I'm letting people down. I'm not good enough. You could be a amazing human being, and you have this feeling that you're not enough. So it's a lot of those things that people come with us. But one thing is consistent. Everyone that comes into our program, these, the high performing professionals, it doesn't have to be like super mega wealthy people. I'm talking about just high performing people that want to accomplish a lot in their day, in their life, and they want to have impact, and they want to live with purpose and passion, and they want to make a difference. Well, those people put pressure on themselves to perform, and they've got this perfectionism that they can't live up to, as I mentioned earlier on this recording, on this video. And you can't live up to those standards. And no matter what, you're always setting yourself up to fail. And no one can live up to those standards. It's impossible, because we're flawed human beings. We're going to fail. The guarantee, I don't care how successful, I don't care how many things you've accomplished, I don't care how many, lives you've saved or impacted or changed, you're going to fail. It's a guarantee in life. We've all failed. And so when we get to that point where we understand, like, it's not out there, it's never the circumstances, it's never, ever, ever the circumstances. And that's where everybody spends all their time on a daily basis. It's always a state of being. And that's the key. So when you get to a state of being that we call acceptance, which is flow, which is being in the zone, freedom, vulnerability, letting go, as you're talking about, when you get to that point where you don't attach to any outcome, but yet you have those outcomes in mind, you've got goals. We're doing a 4-month challenge with all of our clients right now in the inner circle that is monstrous. It's going to be huge. We're going to have some great outcomes, but we don't attach to anything. When you get to that point where you don't need anything from anyone or anything, you'll get everything. And that's freedom. And so everyone comes with the problems I mentioned, but the goal is to get everybody to that place where they're not attaching to anything. And that's living in freedom. And when you live in freedom, you get everything you want.
Mm-hmm. Talk about a catch-22 though.
Yeah.
When you think about it,
Yeah.
you want this outcome, but I don't care if I get it.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm going to work my ass off to get it. And I know it's going to happen. It's like, you mentioned in one of the emails recently that, Zach's the creative behind all of our emails, and about ordering off a menu at a restaurant. Like, you think about how casual that activity is you just choose something on the menu and then you sit there. You don't stress and wonder if you're going to get it. You don't go back to the kitchen and say, you sure you got my order right? You sure you're going to bring me, what I ordered? And can I see that menu again? And I want to make sure that I told you the right thing. You don't sit and obsess about it. You tell the server, the waiter, waitress, what you want, and they put it through the kitchen. And they bring out your order within a few minutes, right? And that's what life should be, because we're a creative force in this world. We're this big, powerful, vibrating field of energy that is part of a larger, more powerful field of energy, but we're all the same thing. So literally, life is just making choices of what you want. And if you're in that high vibrational place, that state of being, the zone, that you're going to have it, just like when you order off a menu, then it's going to come. And I don't care what it is. The only reason people don't have, the wealth they want, the happiness they want, the career they want, the relationship they want, because in some way, shape, or form, they're in a state of being of resistance. It doesn't match what they want, and their beliefs don't line up with it. So once their beliefs and their state of being mirror what they want in the external, they'll have everything they want. And it is as simple as ordering off a menu, because the creative force will get it no matter what. You've got it. As soon as the mind can think it, you can experience it. It's if it's in the imagination, and you will when you get out of the way. You're in the way if you're worried, if you're stressed, if you're overwhelmed. You're in the way. And as I always say, the everything that you want is on the other side of your resistance. So once you clear that resistance, and once you get into that high vibrational state of the zone, you're going to have what you want. And then you got to stay there, because sometimes things take a little bit longer. And just because we set the timetable, sometimes we're either not ready or it's not ready or whatever, but we know it's going to happen. So it's just like ordering off the menu. You just may have to wait a little bit sometimes, but your job is to stay in that high vibrational place of freedom, of certainty, of knowing, and it'll happen.
And I really want to touch on this because you talk about it a lot, and the importance of acting as if and becoming the character, becoming the person who is capable of making that type of money, having that level of success. And just to go back to Jim Carrey, there's something he does say some rather profound things from time to time. I love Dumb and Dumber. That's always going to be my favorite movie of all time.
He said a lot of profound things in Dumb and Dumber.
So, Austria, let's throw another shrimp on the barbie. But he said something in an interview once. He said, "I'm not Jim Carrey. Jim Carrey is a character I made up."
Yeah.
Because when you hear Jim Carrey talking, I think we're both talking about, the same profound things he said in YouTube videos and such, but he's rather calm, relaxed. He's just very wise, but Jim Carrey, very zany, very out there. And he created this character, but that character is what helped him have that tremendous amount of success. What's that process like for somebody? Because And again, another example you use is Freddie Mercury. He always knew he was going to be a rock star.
Yeah.
He was a rock star
Yeah.
even when he was living in a single studio apartment,
Sleeping on the floor.
sleeping on the floor.
Yeah.
How does someone realistically become that person when all they can focus on is their external? Maybe they're living in a studio apartment, you know?
People become addicted to their circumstances, right? To the outcomes, even though they don't know that they've created it. I told that same person this morning, you want to start transforming your life, take ownership for everything going on in your life. Stop thinking it's them, stop thinking it's society, stop thinking it's your parents, stop thinking it's your spouse or your ex or anyone, your boss or your employees or the environment or the economy. Stop. You've got a hand in creating every bit of the experiences that you have. So when you get to that place of honesty and accountability, then you realize, okay, if I've created all this, then if I was somebody else or I could start becoming somebody else, then I can create all that. So the first step in that process is clarity, always clarity. Week one, we get people clear on their vision. What does life look like a year from now when it meets your definition of perfection? What does it look like? What do your relationships look like? And I don't care how many times you failed. I don't care what your beliefs are. Yeah, I want to know what your life, the perfect life, looks like when it meets your definition of happiness. And let's start there. Now, if you're writing a character for that play, for that movie, what is that character? Who is it? Now, if you don't know what it is, you've got examples in your life. You can go to a movie character. I remember somebody one time says, I want to be George Bailey. I said, what do you mean? He said, I want to just always help people. And I want to be, I said, great. Then what characteristics is George Bailey? I said, do George Bailey without the stress and the inadequacy, right? But we could pick a character in a movie, right? We could pick a character, like if you pick, who's a famous wealthy guy in the movie? Richard Gere was that super high-powered businessman. He had relationship flaws until the very end, but maybe you want to emulate that. Maybe it's a friend that you know, or a colleague, or maybe it's an owner of a company, or a CEO, or maybe it's somebody famous that you might know. And start gathering up, like, okay, this is who I want to be. Now your mind is going to fight you on that at first because you haven't been that person so far. And remember, the mind, the subconscious mind, is nothing more than a great employee. It's only giving you what you've given it throughout a lifetime. So if you consistently beat yourself up or ruminate or dwell on your mistakes or your past or your flaws, then the mind's job is to give you more. It's your co-pilot. So it's there to serve you by giving you back what you've given it. So now you start, okay, well, I'm going to start giving my mind something new. And I want to be this person. I want to show up and I'm going to be confident. I am confident. You want to bring it to present. Certain. I'm intelligent. I'm engaging. I'm funny. You bring the characteristics and the traits of that person. You get really clear on those. And then you emulate those. Now, if you can't, and again, the mind might fight you on it and say, it's not true, Zach. Remember, you failed in 8th grade. You screwed up your relationship. You did this, you did that. And the mind's a great reminder because that's what you've experienced. And that's what you've given your mind. But now you're like, no, we're not going there anymore. We're going to this. And I'm going to keep pounding this home, subconscious, until you buy into it with me. And then when you buy into it with me, we become that person. And then when you become that person, you're in that state of being every day, then you're going to experience the results that you want that are in line with being that person. And it's not fake it until you make it, because there's a flaw in that statement. If you're faking it, then you know you're faking it. I'm like, be it. And you'll experience it more and more. Be it now. Get clear on that first. And then and if you don't know, like if you say, okay, I'm not confident, you still know how a confident person acts. And it might feel uncomfortable for a while, but walk in the room, shake hands, say hello, put a smile on your face, be the life of the party, be that person, even if it feels like it's not authentic. And very quickly it will become authentic. And that's the key. But clarity is the first thing, going back to your original question.
Yeah. It's such a simple and powerful strategy to model. Don't necessarily mimic someone, exactly what they're doing, but modeling. I mean, I think about just in my career, right? When I was, I wanted to be a news anchor. And at the time I just thought David Muir, who does ABC World News Tonight, was just the coolest dude. Like, I was like, I want to do it just like that. And so started, my mannerisms, adjusting them to speaking the same way, even started doing my hair similar. And and I was able to step into that. And because I went into every live shot or every breaking news situation with that confidence, knowing, hey, I've got this, I'm going to do it this way, modeling this guy who is ultra successful in it. I was confident. I think even back to when I was in high school, right?
Yeah.
When I was in a band, like I wanted to be just like Billy Joe Armstrong from Green Day. Like, so it's like when I went on stage,
Yeah.
I was acting just like him. And, even with our live event coming up next week, when I walk into the room and I see all these other people that have had tremendous amounts of success, I want to model the way that they're interacting with people, the way they're carrying themselves, because that sort of thing rubs off on you. You surround yourself with people that you want to be like.
Yeah. No question. And again, so we could become anything that we choose to become. And you look at performers do it all the time. They you look. I always use Madonna as an example, and not that she's the gold standard, because you could tell by all the plastic surgery she's done, she's not happy, probably in her own skin. And no offense to Madonna, she's been brilliant for a lot of years, but she kept changing her persona. She was a grunge rocker, like a what do they call that? Not disco, but nightclub person. And then she became like a virgin. Then she was the Italian girl, and she was Vogue, and she's been other things since. And every album was a new persona that she played. She became that person, and actors do it all the time. But in life, it's like every successful person has emulated other successful people. Athletes, right? Like every great hitter in baseball used to study Ty Cobb and Ted Williams. And if you look at old interviews with Ted Williams, and I studied the great ones like Ty Cobb. I watched old footage of them, and I learned what they were doing, and I became that person. And that's what the difference is. But we people, when they do that, Zach, they feel like a fraud. It's not. It's just becoming something different, because the reason we are who we are today is because we've been through everything we've been through up to this point. So who you are today is a beautiful, perfect symphony, flaws and all, of everything that you've been through up to this point. But if some things aren't serving you, if you keep tripping over yourself in relationships, if you're not making the money that you deserve to make, and here's another little secret, money's just energy. The higher you get your state of being, your vibrational frequency, the more money you'll attract, the better people you'll attract in your life. When I say better, not one's worse than the other, but I mean people that support you, people that teach you, people that fill your bucket up, that move you forward in life, because they reside and they live on that higher vibrational place. So everything you want is there. So all you have to do is recognize, like, okay, this isn't serving me, this person that isolates themselves, or isn't social, or doesn't say yes to invitations, or doesn't speak up in the boardroom. It's not serving me. So I've got to become something different, because I want to experience something different. But it starts from the internal. It's never your circumstances. It's never your external life. It's never your external life. Get your attention off there and your to-do list, to go back to the beginning here. It's not that. It's always your state of being. It's always the inner world. It's always your beliefs. And when you master that and you learn what we teach our clients, how to hack the mainframe and get into that state of being, and then you'll have everything you want, as you know.
And that's where it all starts. Before we wrap things up, I think, there's a lot to chew on, and a lot that people can take with them for the rest of the week, and the importance and just that idea of being able to model exactly what you want. That's going to get you there a lot faster, but realizing that it is an inside game, and that's something that you talk about and touch on time and time again. That's what it's all about.
Yeah, it's an inside job. Life isn't. We are looking to the external. The car's not going to make you happy unless you're happy already. The boat, the first class, the whatever, the relationship, unless you're happy now, unless you love yourself completely, flaws and all. And I'm not saying in an arrogant way, I'm saying in a loving way. Nothing's ever going to make you happy. It's never it. It's not the money. It's not, because when you get the money, you're like, God, I want more. The emptiness, right, that we spoke about earlier. It's always an inside job. And Buddha was right. So when you master the inner world and you get into that high vibrational state of being every day, then your external circumstances will catch up to that. Guaranteed. We do it every day.
There you go. Well, we're going to wrap things up here today. But again, if anybody sees this, whether they're watching live or the recording, what is the easiest way for them to get in touch with you and the team and begin that process for themselves?
I don't know. You tell me. I guess our website, they can always book a call. with our team if they want more, but nolimitsnation.com, right? They should
There we
definitely, if
go.
they're seeing this on YouTube, I see all these other brilliant people on YouTube say, hey, if you like what you're hearing, share it, hit the like button, subscribe to our channel. And if you want more help, reach out to us at nolimitsnation.com. And if you want to get it right the first time, as we call it, right, you can fumble around.
Yeah.
And I don't know what it is, Zach, about, excuse me, self-help or transformation, that maybe it's the ego that people think they can do it themselves. And you know me, you've been around me long enough to know that I want the best of the best in everything we do. And you know me, I go out looking for the best. I'm on a very expensive camera system here, and you call it the paperweight because we didn't use it for about a year, but it's because it's the best. And I want the best in everything. So if I want a mentor, I want the best. And I want to get it right the first time. I don't want to, I have no ego when it comes to growth and transformation. I want to get it right the first time. So if you're that person, like, hey, I want the best and I want to get it right the first time, then just reach out to us and go to our website, nolimitsnation.com. And, but again, like this video, share this video, subscribe to our channel, and you get more of this stuff every week.
There you go. nolimitsnation.com. I knew you knew it, but I was just testing you. Making sure
Thanks, buddy. I don't know what we have going on right now. So, and we've got more coming for everybody. So I know you know that.
All right. Your weekly wisdom, the first weekly wisdom of September. We'll see you next week right here on YouTube, everybody. Have a good one.
All right, Zach. Thanks, buddy. Good to be with you.
Thank you.